Oh, so we're live here, Saturday night. Oh, what's up, everybody? Sleepy J. Man, what a day. What a day of doing shit. Doing shit that I don't want to do, right? Like taking care of responsibilities, doing chores, taking care of pets, going to the store, buying provisions, working on getting a new place to live, new condo, which means going to have a bigger game room, right? Everybody wants a bigger game room. So here I am. I finally wanted to do something that I wanted to do. And here it is, 8 o'clock Eastern. And I think we need a Ukraine 43 playthrough. Okay? Just because this game's the shit. Everybody knows about it. I don't even need to talk about it, but I will. So let me take a hit of this. Coors Light domestic swill. So, Ukraine 43 playthrough. I'm bored. I want to put some content up. I played this in a ladder game, Jeffrey Lang's Ladder. Successful conclusion. I was able to get the dub. We were playing a seven, I believe it's a 7 turn scenario, Zhukov's Assault, and it's basically like the campaign game, but just like the first 7 turns, and the Russians have to get like 8 victory points. So I was the Germans, and I was fighting pretty good. We were equally matched, but like on turn 5, with the Russians have 1 victory point going into turn 5. Gotta say that my opponent was getting a little sloppy with the rules. Just blowing through zones of control to get to where he wanted to get with things, assuming advance after combat. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. Miscommunicate. We'll call it miscommunication. Anyways, and then he told me that he was having computer problems, and I don't know what the deal was, because he definitely had a possibility of making up 5 or 6, maybe even 7 victory points. He might have been able to pull out the dub, but he just threw in a towel. So it looks like I might be moving on. But anyways, this game's phenomenal. I know nobody's watching now, but people tend to watch this after the fact. By the way, watch it on your phone. You're going to get the full 720 experience. I have to say that all the time, because that's just how it is. So one other thing about the setup. Let me move out one resolution here, because I have it really big. I have it really big. Um, when you set up according to the rules, what they want you to do, the Germans in this scenario they tell you what hex that they want you as the Germans to set up in. And then as the Russians, what they do is they say set your guys up in their zone, but just make sure you set up the Russians in such a way that either a unit or a unit zone of control occupies every hex of the Russian fortification. What I did was I got wind of somebody was saying that, hey, there's a file on BGG which shows the historical setup for the Russian 43 offensive in the south, post Kursk offensive in the south. And there's a historical setup. So I'm like, yeah, man, let me grab that file, and I'll go ahead and set that shit up, the historically accurate setup, and that's what I got going on right now. Um, Yeah, well, I mean, why not? If you can find it. So everybody's set up, apparently, excuse me, real long day, in a historically accurate capacity. So now that you know that, let's get right to the. I want to do tonight. I want to do Russian turn one if possible. It's gonna be a long video, but I'm just screwing around tonight on a Saturday night. I got nothing better to do. So I got the sequence of play outline, and it starts with the weather. Let's roll the weather. So what we're going to do is we're going to move all the way down to the left. And the weather determines the weather, but also the air power. So let's get our asses over here. That chart should be right here. So what I'm going to do is roll one die, and it's going to determine the August weather. And it's all going to be clear, but this is basically for the amount of air power. One die to determine the air power here. Here it is. It's a 5. So Germans get 1 air power a marker, and the Russians are going to get 2. Okay, and that's cool because that's generally what you're going to see here, 1 versus 2. So let's get back to the front. Let me go ahead and move over to where the air power is, and the Russians are going to get 2. So let's change their status. So they have 2 more units. The Germans have 1. All right, cool in the gang. Cool and the gang. Yo. All right. So anyway, so the weather phase is done. Soviet player turn. The Soviet player replaces his reinforcements. I don't think he has reinforcements per se. Does he have reinforcements per se? I don't think he does. There are, for Soviet turn 1, there are no reinforcements, but they do get replacements. And they get the same shit every turn, and it's actually pretty nice. Let's go look at it. Let's go look at it, what they get. So the Soviets get, they get 1 special, 1 armored, and 2 infantry. And for this scenario, they're going to get the same shit every turn. Okay, the Germans mix it up. The Soviets get everything. Same shit every turn. So let's go ahead and find them some units, or actually let's just go to some one-steppers and make them whole. Then that's going to start at the bottom. We'll start all the way at the bottom, see if we can't make some of these units whole. I want to see if this cavalry is a special unit. Okay, one moment. Your call is important to us. Hold, please hold. Your call will be answered in a moment. Will be answered shortly. Every time I say that every time I hit the roll book. So let's get over to reinforcements. Page 16, 23.1. So, special reinforcements may be used for cavalry units. There it is. There it is right there. Cavalry units. So we're going to bump this dude up. He's going to get a gain a step. And that's going to be your special. And he also picks up the, he's going to pick up the, for status, the replacement marker. Okay, so that's your special unit. Let's move on up. Okay, so here, this armored guy right here, we definitely want to bump him up. So this is going to be my armored gain step, and that's huge right there, as you can see. Status, replacement, and we'll go over the replacement rules in a bit. Yeah. So now what we have is we have 2 infantry upgrades. 2 infantry upgrades. All right, this 143. Let's go ahead and hook him up. Blah 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 blah. Gain step makes him a 363 and give him a give him a replacement marker. So as you can see, I'm primarily using the bumping these guys up down south. I think do we have another one? And what we're going to do is just maybe use 3 down here and use your last infantry up a little farther. How about right here? We'll use them all down here. Pick up a step, gain step, make him a 363, and give this dude the old replacement marker. So that's 2 infantry markers, a special unit, and an armored unit. And let's just go over the replacement rules. Screw it. We'll get into that in a bit. Basically, the unit in question can move 1 hex, but they can't participate in any combat. It says right on the marker. Okay, getting back to over here. Yeah, okay, cool. La 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 la. All right. Yeah. So Soviet player initial phase, replacements, reinforcements. The Soviet player may flip 3 artillery, but that's not on turn 1. Movement phase. All right. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna start our movement in the north and work our way down. But really quick, like let's minimize just so we can get a good look at the front. All right. So let me go ahead and minimize this. These units are going to look really small, but I want you guys to see the entirety of the front. So starting from the north, we work our way down. So there's Kharkov right there. All right, and we're starting right down here, right up here. Sumy is right over. How does this goddamn thing work? Control S, is that where it is? Hold up, no. Control, no, Windows S, and no, that's some bullshit. And I forgot how to do it. Control S, no, that doesn't do it. Alt, Window S. Oh, right there. Okay, so there's Sumy right there. All right, cool. That's worth 1 point. Now remember, you got 7 turns to get 8 victory points. Okay, so then you see the front bend in towards Belgorod, which is over right here. That's also 1 point. Kharkov is here, worth 3 points. And then you see moving right down here, moving over to a treasure trove of points all down in this direction, down by Stalino. 2 here, 1 here, 1, 1, 1. And I'm sure this one has it. So you're looking at 2, 4, 6 points. Then they need 8 victory points in 7 turns. Okay? So that's what you have, and that's all the way down to the Black Sea, Sea of Azov, Black Sea, whatever. And you can see the majority of the Russian forces are north. The heavy hitters, the big guns, so to speak, are north of Kharkov. Okay, Kharkov's worth 3. That's where your Manstein unit in. He's got power, and then Zhukov is up here, and that's how it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom back in, and we are going to start the Soviet movement up top to the left, up north. I don't know what resolution I want to go with. The resolution, it looks huge now, but it tends to look, if you go with something huge, it tends to look awesome on when it's being replayed on like on your phone, for instance. So we're just going to stay with that. So here's the Russians. We're going to do their movement, make sure Mark moved. Okay, Mark moved, and we're going to do so up here. These guys aren't going to do nothing. They're going to hold the line, and then we move on. Keep in mind, like I said, this placement is not optimal, but supposedly it's historically accurate where the Russians were when they kicked off this offensive. Let's do this. What are they going to do? Remember, Zokbons, the blue is the dug-in fortifications for the Germans. The red is defensive fortifications or fortifications for the Russians, the Red Army. All right, here we go. Let's start moving some units around. Remember, stacking for the Reds is 2 units unless you have an army. You have an army marker in your hex, then you can go with 3, and it's 3 plus one of those supplemental units. I don't even know what they call them. Like for instance, this guy right here, this 226 on Kursk with the white circle outline, that could be like an extra unit in addition to your 2. Anyways, let's start moving. Enough of the bullshit. So, this guy's gonna kick it over here, half 1. All right. Half 1.5. And this guy will go here, and this guy will go here. All right, so it looks like they got an attack plan for this 574. We'll see what happens. I'm not actually going to set up the attacks right now. Yeah, let's keep moving forward. I'm going to keep the resolution huge, but it'll look better once it's on the phone. It'll look really good. Now, what are they going to do here? Are they going to go after this 987 right here, or just not? They're not going to go after the 98. Is that what you're saying? They're not going to go after the 987? Okay, so they're going to set up an attack on this 57th Infantry Division right here. Okay, that's nice. How are you going to do it? Okay, so you're going to bring in this 866 down to right here. And then right here, what can you do? I think they may be hitting them with a lot of artillery. Are you going to bring this guy down? All right, cool. He can jump on top of them. You know what? Maybe I will set up attacks as I go on. Let's just go ahead and do that. Let's set up this attacks. I think that might be better coordinating my strategy if I do that. So obviously this is A attack, A attack, A attack, A attack, and there's no artillery on this. Is that how you really want to roll this, with no artillery? These guys right here, they're 8 and 3s 11 plus 4 3s is 12, and 11 is 23 to 7. Yeah, we'll just leave that like that. And keep in mind, there's no armored shift if the Germans are in a German fortification. Anybody who's in a fortification or on woods is not going to have to deal with an armor shift against them. All right, so anyways, we bring out the B. B for this guy right here, B, and I think what we want to do is we want to maximize our artillery. We got this one right here. Shit. Okay, let's count it up. So he's a 7. Okay, so this is 6. This is 11, so we're up to 17. And then you have 8 more, and 17 is 25, so that's like a 3-to-1. Now, there's going to be a shift to the left in favor of the defender if the German player is on their fortification, which they are. And remember, there's no armor shift. So we're going to go ahead and commit 1 artillery to this fight. So we'll put the B marker right here. Okay, solid, and we move right along. So obviously you can see the Russians cannot bring like all of their forces to bear here. But they'll even go for some lower attacks. You Yeah, some lower attacks like 2-to-1s, maybe even 1-to-1s. Because the thing is, if they take a step, here's the thing about the Russians, what they have going for them. If they have to take a step loss, that is not a big deal for them. Because one of these 3-6-3s will just flip over. If the Germans have to take a step loss, that's sort of a big deal. So these A1D1s, a lot of times they favor the Russians big time. All right. So what are we going to do with this unit right here? We can move some heavy hitters in here. Do we have any heavy hitters? Indeed, we do. How about... Actually, we should just bring this whole tank army. Now, remember, when you have when you have an army marker, that will allow 3+1. And I think what we're going to do in this situation, we're going to go ahead and move this guy out, right? We're going to move him out, put him down, and we're just going to move this whole tank army right in here. Very powerful. First tank army, 7. So it's 2 armored divisions, 1 mech, and they could even bring in one of those little circular armored units, but I don't have one handy. Or do I have one right here? No, I don't. But what we are going to do is we're going to bring in some punishing artillery, which is, I'm going to bring in both of these. Is that what I'm going to do? Is that what I'm really going to do here? And in hindsight, I think I'm just going to add this one right here. And so let's get the C things out. The C markers. C markers, bring them over here. Mark this attack. This is how you stay organized, by marking these attacks right away. So that's going to be this German infantry unit, this S25, that artillery, first tank army, and then this C right here, these 2 dudes right here. So you're talking about a whopping... The 3-6s is 3-7s is 21, and then 6 is like 27. Shit, can I get one more? We've got to do this. We've got to do this. Yeah, and the way we do this is this guy has to come over here. He had to go hex. He had to go move from Zoc to Zoc to do that. That's going to bring that up to what, 4-to-1. Plus they get that ship back would be 3-to-1, and we're adding 1 artillery over here. All right, so we move on to the next thing. Now look at this shit right here. You've got this massive 5th tank army. We're going to move this guy out, and we're going to bring down the 5th tank army right into here. We are just going to throw it down on this unit right here. And we're going to bring in, so all these guys are D. There's the attack E, D, and we're going to rock these ones right here. Oh my God. And we're going to come with 2 artilleries. 2 of them. 2 of them. Yowza. We're going to bring the pain to that 574. So you see what the Russians are doing, right? They did not want to go after this 987 right here. And one of the things that the German armored divisions have, you notice that the 8 is encased in red. That means elite, and that means like it's 1 ship. Like total quality, they have an advantage over a regular unit. So they're trying to stay away. They want to get an initial punch through of these German infantry divisions, and we'll see. I mean, they're just bringing overwhelming numbers. All right. And so right now I have to ask myself, where is Zhukov? Because he has the ability to overturn or add a ship to one of these attacks if he's within 5 hexes. So I want to know, are all the defenders within 5 hexes of Zhukov? Let me figure this out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, yes. The out of these three right here, B, C, and D, all of them are within 5 hexes of Zukov, so that is pretty good. And keep in mind, I have 2 aircraft that I may use offensively, or I may use them in a different sector. But let's keep going. So we're making changing shit up right here, and I think I will attack this unit right here. We want to encircle this city. We're going to attack these guys right here, and we don't have that much strength here. So 363, 353. So this is a pretty much all infantry attack. We're going to move this guy in because he's like anti-tank. We'll throw him there, E, and obviously we're going to use this artillery for this tank. I may use a plane. I'm going to have to come back to that and see what I want to do with the planes. Will I move this guy up? Sure. Why wouldn't I move him up? I'm going to move him up to this Korocha. Half, 1, half, 2, half, 3. We're going to move him right there. Solid. All right, now moving down. I don't really have the power to attack this guy, so we're not. We don't really have the power in this location. Now we're going to go to the Izium Bend, and this is kind of interesting. Now, this is an interesting hex right here. Let me go ahead and highlight it. The Izium Bend. This hex right here. Why do I get this crap? Right here. This hex. Very interesting. Now, here's the reason why. This is the Izium Bend, and every hex has like what, 6 sides to it. Well, 4 of the 6 sides in that hex, they do have a water, but the hex side from the 353 to these German units right here is considered not. There's not water between the two of them. Okay, that's just the way it is. Well, not all 4 of 6 hex sides, but not if I attack those Germans right there. So anyways, let me move some forces in here. The problem I have is that my artillery is used. So that is not conducive for an opening offensive. So basically I'm setting something up for next turn. That's the mode that I'm in. And I do want to defend these guys. I can't let the Germans, notice what side of the river I'm on. I can't let the Germans get me the hell out of there. I don't know what to do. I'm going to bring this guy over. 1, 2. I'm going to bring this guy over to right here. No, I'm going to bring him over to right here. Nah, screw it. We'll keep him with his homeboy. He'll go right there. And I got to get this guy over here. Actually, he'll just cross the river to go there. And, wow, this 566. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me look at the terrain real quick to see if that was extra. Minor river. No, unless it's raining. Okay, I feel you. The 766. What do I want to do with him? That's interesting. Yeah, he's gonna go here, and then right there. He'll kick it right there, and this dude will also offensively, right? He can go here, here, and here. Okay. And we got to get these artillery back to full, because he's used. I'm not gonna start anything. All right, moving right down the line. The Russians are kind of defensive at this point. We'll move this one guy into here like that. And then making the turn on the bend right here. What do we want to do? Now remember, we got replacements, and replacements also screw up not only the unit that took the replacement, but everything in that hex. So that kind of takes the wind out of my sail for doing anything this turn. This guy can go one hex over here. Bing. That's as far as he goes, but he keeps the replacement marker. Oh, excuse me. This guy can go one hex. He's going to kick it in here with that. So it's, again, the one hex. I don't see anything happen on the offensive. Yeah, they needed and again, they used all the replacements down there. I think they're pretty much going to chill at this point. This guy will, both of these guys will move up. Actually, he'll go he'll go to here, and he'll go on top of him. And that's what you have there. These guys will, all right. You see, we still need more replacements. Damn, that's pretty bad, bro. All right. So no more attacks. You're just going to go with the 5 attacks. That appears to be the case. On the Izium Bend, I'd want to attack out of there, but the Germans have two things there, and they've got a whopping 12. And what could I put together? I've got 3 there. I really don't have it yet. Maybe next turn. All right, so let's go ahead and put one of our aircraft down. I don't think we're going to do anything offensive down here because, like I said, I took 4 replacements. I don't think I don't think I had the juice to pull anything off down here against the Germans. So let me go place one of my air assets up here. I want to just like throw it down on them. So let me take one and we'll figure out where it is. So let's figure out what the odds are before I place that air asset. So on attack A, again, let's do the math on this. You have up here, you got an 8 and a 3, which is 11, and then you got four threes, which is 12. So you're talking about 23-7, which is a 3-1. You know what? God damn it! I'm going to use my air on this guy. Let's go ahead and use my air asset on him. I'll leave him right there. So what you're talking about, just by the raw numbers, you have like a 3-1. And then using the air, you're going to be 4-1, but because the Germans are on a fortification, it goes back down to 3-1. Do the Germans want to use their lone air on that? No, they don't. So this is a 3-1 attack. Let me just place the odds here. We're going to figure all the odds before we actually roll for the attacks. So this is a 3-1 right here. And again, it's like 20. There's 11 and 12 is like 23-7, it's 3-1, and then the fortification and the air cancel each other out. It stays 3-1. It's not a bad attack. All right, B. Now the stakes are getting pretty high on this. So you have a 7 right there, and they're attacking with wow, a lot of shit in B. What do we have here? The Russians in the middle. It's an 8. That's 11. That hex. This hex is 6 is 17, and this hex 17 and 8 is 25. 25-7 is 3-1. You have artillery 4-1, and 4-1, and then the fortification takes it back down to 3-1. All right, fair enough. And no, they do not want to use an air asset on this. So this is, again, a 3-1 attack. Moving on to attack C. They're dropping the hammer down on this. So again, we have a German 574. He's in the fortification. Let's see what we have. First tank army. That's 21 right there. These guys right here are an 8. 21 and 8 is 29. Okay, so they get the 4-1. They get the 4-1, and the artillery makes it 5-1, and then the fortification throws it back down to 4-1. All right, let me put this odd down, but I'm going to go ahead and add it up again. So again, we have, that's 21. 21 and 8 is 29, and then over here we have 8. 30. Hold on. I'm getting, no, I took one of the B's. I'm not adding B's, just 2 hexes. 21, and again 8, 29, 7 goes, so that's 4-1. Fortification makes it 3-1. The artillery makes it 4-1. Okay, right. So 2 more attacks to figure out. D, massive 5th tank army here, which is it's 10, 24 on that, and then on here 24 and 10 is 34-7. God damn it, one more would have made it, would have kicked it over, but I am throwing in 2 artilleries, so that's 4-1, 34-7, right? 4-1, and then the 2 artilleries make it 6-1. Yeah, 6-1. Wow. There it is. Massive 61. Again, 34-7 goes into that 4-1, and the 2 artilleries make it 6-1. And let's do this E attack. Figure out this. E, they're coming from 3 different directions, and that's going to be 6. And then over here you have 8 is 14, and then 6 more is 20. Ooh, it's only 2-1. And the artillery makes it 3-1, and then the fortification makes it 2-1. You know what? God damn it! I'm gonna draw my other airplane right here. We're gonna try to make something happen here. So let's review. 2-1. Artillery and air makes it 4-1. And the fortification makes it 3-1. I'm going to have to double check that. I want to make sure of that. All right, one moment. Is it just 1 unit there? Yeah. So what you have again is 6. There's another 6 is 12, and then you have 8, 20. So it's 2-1. Air and artillery makes it 4-1, and fortification takes it down to 3-1. That's attack E. Is that the only attack? That's it. There are no attacks in the south. So let's bring out our resolution. Just, there are no attacks in the south. Okay. And bringing it up so we have 5 attacks up north. Awesome. Bring up our resolution. So they're kind of conservative here. Now keep in mind, they do have Zhukov. He might do something. He might just do a re-roll. Let me see if Zhukov can do a re-roll on his own attacks. I believe he can. He's a combat. Yeah, only on his own guys. All right, let's do this. But let me look at the sequence of play first. Movement, combat phase. And the Russians decided that they're going to use both their aircraft here, which is amazing. Let's do this. All right. So attack A, 3-1. Here's the roll. Well, let's look before we say here's the roll. The attackers want to roll as high as possible. Okay, the attackers want to roll as high as possible. So here we are for attack A, 3-1. Wow, that's as high as you can get. They got a 6 on 3-1, which is a D1. Defender loses 1 step. Surviving defenders may either retreat or become blah, 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 blah. Okay, Mounstein, are you 7 hexes? Do you want to re-roll? I don't think he's close enough. 4, 6, 7. He's not close enough. So let's do this. So again, D1, defender loses 1 step. Let's take the Russians get a really good roll here. in the opening combat. So they take a hit right off the bat, and surviving defenders must either retreat and become disrupted. What do they want to do? They're going to have to retreat. Absolutely have to retreat here. And they're going to go through Sumi and then back out here, and they're going to take the disruption status combat. They're going to take the disruption, and now you have, I think I'm going to do, unless the advance after combat could possibly affect the subsequent attack, I'll do them all at one time. Or let's do this way. Let's do this. Let's keep it legal. Let's say before we even do the other attack, we should do the advance after combat. So what is the typical advance in this game? They do differ between Mark's games here. So let's see what an actual advance after combat. So this is a normal. It's going to be 2 hexes. All right, 2 hexes for all these guys. Let me move the air out. Yeah. They want to keep a presence right here. I think this guy moves here. And I think these guys move here. That's what I think I'm looking at. I think I'm looking at that. They're gonna roll like that, and they definitely have to stop there. Okay, so that was attack A. Okay, moving on to attack B. It's 3-1. Let's see if Manstein is within 2, 4. He actually is within 7. That's good to know. All right, so here goes your 3-1 roll. Remember, the attackers want the highest possible roll. They get a 1. Oh, shit. So that's bad. 3-1 would be an A1DR. What do you want to do? Do you want to do a Zukov reroll? A1DR. A1DR. Shit. Because A1, you're going to take a hit, but like we said, for the Russians, losing a step is not a problem. That is a big advantage for them. But the Germans, you know what? I am going to save... Oh. Before we do that, there's also something else I neglected to do in the last battle, and that's really easy to fix. Anytime you fight a defender who's in a fortification, you got to do what is known as a heavy casualty loss, and I neglected to do it. 1 through 3. Is that 1 through 3? Let me just look at heavy casualty. We're going to fix that real quick. That's not a big deal. If you had to make a screw up, that's one thing that's easily fixed. Except I got to find it. I got to find out. Well, wait a minute. Heavy casualty loss. I got to go to the index. Oh, my rules they're coming apart. Heavy casualty loss. 9.6. All right, so solid. And that's just a die roll, and then we're in business. The attack. Okay, so it's 4-6, and you lose. So this is for attack A. I forgot to do it. Here is attack A, 4-6. You lose a step. No, it's a 1. They don't lose anything. All right. So now on attack B, it's a 1 on 3-1, which is A1DR. You know what? They could use the Zukov roll, but they're going to go ahead and just accept it the way it is. It'll take 1 hit. Big damn deal. And that will be, this guy right here is going to take the loss of step. Now, the Germans still need to figure out what they're going to do. They're going to do, because they got to do a DR, they're going to do a determined defense. So the Germans are going to pull off a determined defense. So they're obviously in other. They're not in clear, and they're not in any type of city, so they're in other. They're in a fortification zone, so they're going to do a determined defense. Here's their determined defense roll for attack B. They roll a 4, which is nothing, so they have to retreat. Can't get out of it. And that's these guys right here. They got to retreat too. It's like, where do you go? Where do you go? Where do you go? I'm going to tend to roll them back to I'm going to move them here. Okay, and that makes them disrupted. All right, and the Russians can do a, that's going to be what the advance is up to 2 hexes. So these guys are going to roll it all the way up to 1, 2, 1, 2. These characters will go right there. And what about these guys? What are they, 3/6/3s? Pretty powerful, 3/6/3s. All right, so one of them will go here, and he'll take this guy with him. All right, there's your advance for the Soviets on attack B, and they neglected to use their Zhukov reroll. Let's go to attack C. This is a massive 4-1. Let's roll. It's a 1. Oh, it's the DRX. This would be a good place to use your Zhukov reroll. DRX, each side loses 1. Now, here's why they neglecting to use the Zhukov last turn was great, because here's where you want to use it. And here's the reason why. One moment. You want, because on this DRX, each side loses 1 step. The unit selected is determined by the opposing player. So we are going to use our Zhukov reroll. Where is he? Is he within 5 hexes of C? Absolutely. So I'm going to go ahead and click on him and say shift use, no, flip, no, reroll. Let's flip him. So they're using him for a reroll on attack C. Right? The 4-1? Yeah, they are. Here's the reroll. They rolled a 1 initially. Let's see what they get now. They get a 3, somewhat better, and it goes from DRX, where you would have had a really nice Russian unit flip it to just a defend a retreat. And now the Germans are going to use they're going to try to use a determined defense. Here it goes. Determined defense in other. 1 die. It's a 6. Okay, so 6 actually means both sides lose a step and the retreat is canceled. Wow. The retreat is canceled. Germans lose a step. The retreat is canceled. And now we need to do heavy casualty rolls for both attack B and attack C. Here's attack B, 4 to 6, and you lose a step. Yeah, they're gonna lose a step. Somebody's gonna get whacked. Or actually, I did do that attack B already. Let's do attack C, heavy casualty roll. That's a 3. No, nothing. Okay, so now, okay, the Germans, they fail to determine defense. The Russians are going to lose a step, 1 step, because the determined defense was a 1-1. So no big deal. So what we'll do is just take a hit out of him. No, that he wasn't in the C attack. We'll have to go over here. So this guy loses a step. Solid. There it is. No advance because the Germans hold. The Germans barely hold. They lose a step. Now, attack D. Now, Zhukov did use his re-roll. he did get a better result. All right, so attack D is a massive 6-1. Do the Germans want to use their friggin' plane here? No, they do not. They're just gonna deal with whatever happens. All right, here's the roll. No, not that. Here's the roll. It's a 3 on 6-1, which is a DRM. The defender retreats. The attacker receives a bonus advance. No determined defense is possible. So, okay, so the defender has to retreat. 1. He is going to go here with this guy. And he's gonna get disrupted. And he'll go on top. Alright, so he moves back. Now, and it was what, 3 DRM? 6-1 DRM. So the attacker receives a bonus advance. No determined defense is possible. Oh my god. So they get a bonus. And is that 3? I think we're going to see a mobile assault right out of the gate here. I think we're going to see a mobile assault. A bonus is for mechanized. It's 3 hexes. Mechanized and cavalry. So what you have is the massive 5th tank, which is totally mechanized. They can go 3 hexes, and what you're going to see them do is go right here. That's 1. They still have 2, and they're going to use one of the 2 to attack this guy right here in Belgorod. That's massive. That's massive. If they can get him out of there, but the problem is, remember, he's doubled. He's going to be doubled. So you're attacking with 2 7s is 14 plus 2 is 16. It's going to be 24 to 14, which is a 1-1, and they're on a fortification. So that is actually like a 1-2, bro. That's like a 1-2. I say do it. Go ahead and do it. It's a 1-2. It's a 1-2. All right, let's roll that. Ready? It's a 1 on 1-2, which is the best thing the Soviets could get. 1-2 is, but it is still an A1. That's an A1. So it's not going to work out, and that is going to kill your bonus advance. What are you going to do? Well, you're going to shit can this unit right here. He's going to go eliminated. Not a big deal. And they have to roll on the initial D attack. They have to do a heavy casualty. Here's that roll, and it's a 2-0. Okay, so the mobile assault fails. It was a 1-2. And they had a little shit counter that a stepper that they could get rid of. Not a big deal. All right, E is 3-1. Soviets committed one of their planes, so it's a 3-1. Here's the roll for attack E. It's a 5 on E. On 3-1, a 5 is A1D1. The Russians don't care about that shit at all. Does Manstein want to re-roll? And he's within 7, no doubt. Does he want to re-roll on that? They rolled a 5 on a 3-1. No, he's gonna hold that. He's gonna hold back. He's not gonna use his Manstein for this reroll. So again, a 5 on a 3-1 is an A1D1. So these guys are gonna flip. They're gonna lose a step. And A1D1, they gotta retreat. The Soviets will we'll deal with them in a second. They got to retreat 2, or they can do determined defense. They're not going to determine defense. They'll move back 2. 1, 2, give them a disruption. Disrupted. All right, cool in the gang. Now, the Soviets, they have to roll for heavy casualties. No, they don't, but they did. They had an A1D1, so they got to, out of these E's, someone's got to take a step loss. Not this. This is never a problem. This guy will take a step loss down here. Combat, lose a step. All right, no big deal. So they got him out of there. They could advance on an A1D1, and they can move up to 2 hexes. Who's going to move into that spot? Well, obviously it's going to be these guys. So they take the hex, and now we're gonna go around and flip some artillery. Let me get rid of this shit and don't. We'll flip all the artillery from all these attacks. A didn't have one. B did. We're gonna flip that status flip. All right. C had one. Return to Stavka. Why would you flip it? Flip it, return to Stavka. Okay, I got you. And then you have 2 artilleries over here. This one just flips. This one flips and return to Stavka. All right, and did you have any? Yeah, I think you had one on one of these other attacks. Yeah, this dude over here, he's gonna flip. All right, so cool in the gang. Let's return this plane as sent to used box, and the other plane over here. There was another one over here sent to use. So the Russians have used all their aircraft. They use a hell of a lot of artillery. So that is, and that's going to be a wrap. So let's just take a look for the Russian turn. We're goddamn, we're 1 hour into this already. That's amazing. That's amazing. So let's, and what comes next on the thing? Recovery phase. All right, but I want to look at this. So let's look at the what did they accomplish here? So they moved. They were successful. 1 disruption. They're like coming up on Sumy. They're going to take that. Attack B yielded another disruption. They were able to advance after combat pretty nicely. C yielded a step loss, but the Germans were able to do a determined defense and not have to retreat, but they took a step loss. And then attack D, they got a disruption and also a step loss. And then attack E, they actually, that was actually, no, attack E was the 254 loss and a disruption, and I guess attack D was just a retreat. Okay, so I mean, considering all the resources that they used in turn 1, really not what I would say tearing shit up. The Russians didn't really tear shit up here. I don't know what the Germans can do. But anyways, let's go ahead and do the recovery for them. All right, so the recovery is Soviet flight removes or attempts are disrupted and replacement. So let's start over here. They don't have any disruptions. The Germans have a shit ton. So we're basically talking about replacement markers here. And they do have 4 because they invested heavily in this southern front. All right, so let's take your replacements off. They built this up really nicely. So they'll be on the offensive down here next turn. But there are only 7 turns. Delete. And where's the other one? Isn't there one more? I thought you had 4. Didn't you have 4? Yeah, there it is. There's the other one. So they built up 4 units down here. And yeah, that's all they had is replacement. They don't have disruptions because the Germans weren't able to attack. And that is going to do it. So you're looking at basically what happened. Supply phase. Are the Soviets in supply? Are all the Soviets in supply? Definitely through here. Some of these advanced after combats. No, they're definitely in supply all the way around. Okay. Now, how many disruptions did the Germans have? They got one, two, three, four disruptions. All right, not a big deal. And the Germans did not use Manstein, which is always nice. That's always nice. All right, Soviets are in supply. German player turn. So that's going to be, we're at 1 hour, and that is the Soviet offensive. Let me go ahead and pull off all these attack markers. We'll just bang these out right here. All these attack markers. We'll just get rid of them. Delete. Getting rid of the attack markers, and then I got to save the file. Make sure you save the file. Okay, that's attack B. Delete. Great thing about this game is both sides can just kick the shit out of each other. Russians can come in, kick the shit out of the Germans, and then the Germans just come back and just, it's like rock'em sock'em robots, man. You know, who's gonna blink first? And if you get an opening, you got to be mobile. That's the other thing. You can't just do this rock'em sock'em robot shit all the time. If you get a little opening, you got to exploit it. You have to. And remember, the Russians need 8 victory points in 7 turns. So they got to do better than what they did here. But like I said, down south, they just built up this turn. All right, so I took off all the markers. Germans still have Volgograd and Sumy. I would rate this attack, this turn, for the Russians. I would rate it probably out of 10. I'd give them like maybe a 6. Maybe a 6. And the thing is that much like the real deal going on, the Germans take losses, man. It's hard for them to build that shit back up. But when the Russians take losses, very, very easy for them to build their shit back up. And that's like how it was in real life. So that's what you're looking at. And we'll bring it back to the German turn, and we'll see you guys next time. I am Sleepy J, and we'll see you guys next time for German turn. Turn 1, German turn. All right, I'm out. Take it easy. Bye bye.